is trying to get this set up, and I didn't know how to get the speaker going.
There are two things you have to.
Brought it on the back,
There,
and I spoke into the mic. Okay, I'm sorry.
there's actually there's. I've done this right, but I haven't done the. There we go. I started at 9:40, 9:50. Let's see. Oh, it started at 10 o'clock. Exactly. Go.
Should I move this a little closer?
Okay, there we are.
That's better. Check, check, check. Check, check, check. Oh, that's what I did. Sorry.
I think it works now.
Check, check, check. All right, maybe I should turn that down.
Yes, we're just setting up. I recognize it's part of I'm going to sneeze. Sneeze alert.
That's right. Whatever that means, it's like color A.
Yeah.
Oh, the newspaper. That's stay calm. Also, almost as well. Kind of going back to different spirit. Who's ever used it as a weapon? Who's done it? And I think we'll be on that. And look, I'm interested in it. Gata for the sound of the bell. Mind calm, body at ease, breathing quiet, sentiment benevolent. Dharma friends sitting still in vital silence, wanting nothing. We practice eco-Buddhism together. The sound of the temple bell booms for all to cease from conflict. May the way of Buddha usher in the dawn of nonviolent global village forever. Here is the after sound of the bell. Thunder of silence, light after Dharma rain. Om Amoga Vairocana Mahamudra Mani Padme Jvala Pravartaya
Please stand and join me in offering 3 refuges. So placing our hands palm to palm, we offer refuge to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, first in Sino-Korean and then in English. So most of us do not know Sino-Korean, but throw your voice in as best you can. Shim Huimyone Shivang Sam Chema Chale Samchu Il Chale Shivam Samse Chemam Chale Samchu Il Chale Shishim Punyane Shivam Samse Chemam Chale Samchu Il Chale Samgaya I go for refuge to the Buddha.
I go for refuge to the Buddha
And resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment.
I will cultivate a heart of enlightenment
And realize the great way.
and realize the great way.
I go for refuge to the Dharma.
I go for refuge to the Dharma
And resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will penetrate the teachings.
I will penetrate the teachings
And uncover oceans of wisdom.
and uncover oceans of wisdom.
I go for refuge to the Sangha.
I go for refuge to the Sangha
And resolve with all beings.
and resolve with all beings.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many.
I will seek peace and happiness for the many
And transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
and transform this world into Buddha lands unimpeded.
Now please return to your places for another shorter period of meditation. As we enter this period of meditation, please care for your posture so that you're sitting stably. Ideally, the body's in a triangular base with the weight supported by the knees and the sitting bones. And then from there, Our spine arises erect, and we can bring our arms up if we wish to help straighten the spine. Turn the hands out and slowly lower them, placing the hands in a mudra. So the head is balanced then on top of the spine. Looking down the bridge of our nose, our eyes softly focused. Placing the tip of the tongue at the back of the top teeth. And then just feeling the rise and the fall of the abdomen as we breathe. Working with the breath throughout this meditation period, counting the breath if you wish, or if you have some other kind of practice, engaging in that as well. As an end to our meditation practice, let's do some mindful stretching. So please follow along with these simple exercises. Warming the face. Massaging the top of the head, right along the ridge of the skull. This massaging of the head is actually connected with our breathing, so it helps us to breathe better and more fully. And then working with the earlobes, starting with the top of the ears, and then pulling down on the earlobes. Place your knuckle right under your nose. Take a nice deep breath. And then let's begin to work with the spine by leaning forward, stretching the lower back. Clasping the hands, bringing them over the head. And then stretching all the way out. As we return to seated position. Stretching upward. Breathing in. And then as we fold to the left, we breathe out. Stretching now to your other side, the right side. And as we sit up, we clasp our hands behind our back. Bring the shoulders back together. Take a nice deep breath and then lean forward, stretching the arms behind you. Return to a seated position with your hands still clasped behind your back. And then do a spinal twist to the left, bringing your eyes all the way around as far as you can. Massaging whole spine. And then switch so that you're doing a spinal twist to the right. And now place your fists where your trunk meets your legs, and we'll do some big circles with the upper body. Reverse direction. Place your right hand on your left rib cage, and then with your left arm, lean over toward the right, stretching the spine in a different way. And reverse now, so you're leaning in the other direction. clasping the hands behind the head at the base of the skull. Some sharp outward breaths. Twisting to the left, to the right. Bringing the arms high over the head. Breathe in, and then as you drop your arms, breathe out. Some nice deep abdominal breaths. Hopefully that allowed us to wake up a bit. I'm wondering, Sunum, can you reach the microphone? Thank you. So good morning, all you Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. How's my sound? Can you hear okay? Great. So for those who I've not met, my name is Ma'um, and I'm one of the priests who lives here at the temple. I reside in the yellow building next door. So I want to welcome you all here on a holiday weekend. If you look behind us, what do you see on the altar that's different today? Say a little louder, please.
Forsythia.
Forsythia. What else?
Easter egg. Buddha's hand.
You see an egg in the Buddha's hand, a nice blue egg. And there's also for Chichang Posel, the statue has a little egg. So it's Easter today, and we honor our Christian friends with their celebrations. Buddhism is very interesting because it's not really in conflict with any other religion. And we like to say that we celebrate along with other religions, celebrate all holidays. So we are celebrating Easter today, but we are also celebrating a special Buddhist holiday. So in the Buddhist calendar, I'm just going to name some of the holiday events. You'll be familiar with some you may not have heard of. But if you look above you, you'll see these paper lanterns. So these are there in preparation for our Buddha's birthday celebration, which is coming up May 15th. And we hope you all can join us then. We'll have a special service. And then at the end of the day, in the evening, we'll be lighting these lanterns, and they're quite beautiful to look at. So Buddha's birthday is a major celebration. We celebrate when the Buddha was born, when the Buddha attained enlightenment, when the Buddha died as major kind of events in our calendar. So the Enlightenment Day occurs usually in January, and we celebrate that by sitting up all night long, getting a little experience of the effort that the Buddha went through in his journey toward awakening. And then we have an event called Parinirvana Day. That's celebrating the passing of the Buddha into a state of nirvana or non-returning to this human realm. So other celebrations. In July, we will have a precept taking ceremony. Are some of you here that are in the precepts class? Okay, so Otto and some others out there, maybe online. When you take Precepts, you study our major moral guidelines for several weeks. And then at the end of that time, make a formal commitment, a little first step on this path toward embracing Buddhist practice. And there's a special ceremony for that. That's going to be happening in July. A few other days. Ulaanbaatar Day. I like to think this is similar to in Hispanic cultures, maybe Day of the Dead. So we it's a day of reconciliation, also reconciling any unresolved issues that we have with people in our lives. Liberation of life service. We release animals that otherwise would have been killed so that they have more of a chance at life. Next week, I believe, is Earth Day, and we'll be celebrating by doing some outdoor gardening activities. So Lunar New Year, and then Memorial Day, Ancestor Memorial Days, and that's what we're doing today, is celebrating Tongsan and Solbong Sunum, two of our Korean Dharma masters, spiritual masters, who helped bring this tradition to us. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the teacher-student relationship and what it means to have a teacher in the Buddhist tradition, which is a little bit different than other traditions such as Christianity and Judaism and so on and so forth. So teachers are how the tradition is passed down. We have the scriptures to read, and the Buddha said, let scriptures be your guide. But just reading something is pretty dry. And what we foster is Buddhism as a way of life. And so the only way you can learn that is really from a live teacher who's doing it and instructing you with their behavior as well as with their words. So our definition of a teacher is someone who knows the spiritual landscape and whose own insight has been sanctioned and approved by a realized teacher. So we trace our lineage back, the Korean lineage that we come from, to Bodhidharma as one of our ancestors. And then it got passed down through, Wei Nang and other teachers to the two photos that are on the altar today that we are celebrating. And these are Salmo Sunum's teacher. So Haju Sunum's teacher, our senior priest, was Salmo Sunum. Salmo Sunum now resides in Toronto. And his teachers were Tongsan Sunum and Solbong Sunum. So if you look at the altar to the left, in the light-colored robes, that monk is Tongsan Sunum. And to the right, in the darker robes, is, I'm sorry, I said it back. No, that's right. To the right is Solbong Sunum. So wanted to talk just a little bit about each of these masters. So I'll be reading from this book. It's called the Zen Lotus Society Handbook. And this captures the development of Buddhism in this country through our teacher, Salmo Sunum, because he came from the mountain monasteries of Korea in the late 60s, right? Like late 60s. And he first spent time in California and then in New York City, moved to Toronto. And from Toronto, then He helped establish some temples throughout North America. So Mexico City has a temple, this temple here in Ann Arbor, and then we have one in Chicago as well, in New York City, and a new venture is a farm in upstate New York, Spring Wind Farm. So we're very grateful to him for establishing all of these places for us to come and be together. So here is Salmo Sunum's story about his encounter with Zen Masters. This is when he was a young monk. I arrived in Pomasa. Pomasa is the name of the monastery where he studied. I arrived in Pomasa in the spring of 1962. I trudged along the winding mountain road amidst cherry blossoms and arrived at the mountain gate after crossing a stone bridge. The gate was low and unimposing for such a large public monastery, but seemed to go with the old stooped red pine trees that surrounded it. Inside the gate were living 3 old masters who, like 3 mountain goats, inspired the monastic community and commanded the respect of the rank and file. The Pomasa monastic community, which included 9 sub-temples and hermitages around the mountain, numbered more than 200 monks and nuns. It was one of the most flourishing monasteries in South Korea in those days. So looking around this room, I see there's maybe 18, 19 of us here. If you can imagine 200, that's pretty big sort of monastery. Here at Pomasa, I was ordained and became a disciple of Tongsan Sunum. So now we are referring to the monk that is on the left side of the altar. He lived from 1890 to 1965. He was serving as spiritual head of the monastic community after retirement from the position of Supreme Patriarch of the Choge order. So as Supreme Patriarch, he would have been responsible for the entire tradition in Korea. So not only Pomasa Monastery, but all the other monastic communities. But he retired and went to live at Pomasa. Tongsan Sunum became my spiritual father for this life, but unfortunately did not live long enough for me to serve him. During his life, he taught through his example. He lived as a monk, scrupulously adhering to the precepts and pure rules of the monastic community, and never once neglected them, even in his advanced age. So Tongsan, sitting here, is our Dharma student. She, when we receive our Dharma names, they are after, sometimes we're named after these great Zen masters. But anyway, Tongsan from time to time says, he sounds like a pretty stuffy old character, just living his life adhering to all these rules, all these monastic rules. But nonetheless, he was very inspiring to the monastic community. He was a bodhisattva who wholeheartedly devoted his life to all beings and performed deeds ahead of others. As Zen master, he urged us to probe deeply and penetrate the wadu or koan. That's an advanced type of meditation practice. And the wadu that he worked with was, where am I at the moment that there is neither a dream nor a thought? That's something it's hard to answer just with your head. On April 30th, 1965, he, as usual, attended morning devotions, partook of the morning rice gruel, and swept the yard with the rest. Around 6 o'clock in the afternoon, when the rays of the setting sun died in the western sky, he quietly passed away. So again, his dates were 1890 to 1965. So I'm thinking, because he was a precept master, one of the ways that we can honor Tongsan Sunum is to read the 10 Bodhisattva Precepts. So please place your hands palm to palm in Hapchan, and then listen as I read these precepts to you. Number 1, do not harm, but cherish all life. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of compassion. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. Number 2, do not take what is not given, but respect the things of others. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of virtue. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. Number 3, do not engage in sexual misconduct, but practice purity of mind and self-restraint. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of purity. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. Number 4, do not lie, but speak the truth. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of truth. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. Number 5, do not involve yourself in the trade of liquors which confuse or weaken the mind, but keep your mind calm and clear. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of wisdom. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. Six, do not speak of the misdeeds of others, but try to understand them with sympathy. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of friendship. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. Seven, do not praise yourself nor condemn others. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of respect. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. Eight, do not withhold your aid, material or spiritual, but give freely of yours wherever there is a need. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of wealth and generosity. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. Nine, do not get angry, but be forgiving. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of happiness. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. Ten, do not revile the Triratna, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, but uphold them. If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of faith. Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path. So to be ordained, graduating Dharma students take those 10 Bodhisattva Precepts. And those who are first entering the path then take the first 5. So let's just take 2 minutes of silent meditation to honor Tongsan Sunum. So now our story continues. Not long after I entered Pomasa, I was admitted to the Zen meditation hall, which had a sign off limits to outsiders. The Zen master was Solbong Sunum, the gentleman on the right-hand side of the altar, 1890 to 1969. Solbong Sunum became my Dharma master. When I first greeted Solbong Sunum in the Fresh Wind Hall, the main meditation hall, in a tea ceremony, introducing a new student to the master and senior students of the hall, I felt as if I had inadvertently entered a tiger's cave. The silent and expressionless Zen monks who sat around me were frightening to one never exposed to such a situation before. But more frightening were the 2 staring eyes of the master Solbong, who resembled an old tiger crouched in his cave. However, I was soon to find out that these silent monks were wonderful people. Few distracting thoughts troubled them. Like children whose minds were constantly occupied with the thought of their mother, the minds of Zen monks were always occupied with their Huadu study. Solbong Sunum was widely known and respected for his wisdom and sharp eye for training Zen students. Despite that, he was most unassuming and mingled freely with ordinary folks in the workaday world, drinking and sleeping on the streets, for which he had gained a reputation. Solbong Sunum was unobstructed. It seemed he identified strongly with common, ordinary people struggling to make a living in the marketplace, and disliked government authorities that bullied the poor and underprivileged. Once in a while, he would disappear from the monastery, go down the mountain, and spend time with his worldly friends. Then, with renewed vigor, he would return and instruct his Zen students. His devotion to the Zen students and his earnest exhortations often moved them to tears. he admonished us, saying, "To free oneself from worldly possessions and renounce one's family is a difficult thing for an ordinary being to do. More difficult still is to give oneself totally, body and mind, after renunciation. If you lack an earnest mind, it is difficult to let go of yourself, body and mind. Without letting go of yourself completely, you will not be able to break through the patriarchal barrier. Be all earnest about your practice and go straight after it, rolling your ball of doubt." We all took the advice very seriously and followed it closely. Although Sobang Sunum never discussed his secular activities down in the world, I think he showed us the non-dual path of wisdom and enlightenment, in which waves are not apart from the body of water, and the body of water not apart from the waves. He wasn't one with ordinary people in the marketplace, just as he would be at one with his monks in the monastery. Above all, nothing perturbed him. And to give an example of this, going to the marketplace, there's a little story that he went down to the marketplace. He sat in the middle of an intersection, and this created quite a commotion, and the police came and things like this. So people were looking at each other, trying to decide what to do. In spite of police complaints, most of them sat down, overcome by the dignity of the old monk and his glittering, piercing eyes. He began by reminding them of the two most important values for living beings, peace and happiness. So if you can think of somebody out at a main intersection here in Ann Arbor, or maybe on the Diag, engaging in this impromptu sort of Dharma talk. He said, "Open your mouth wide and say out loud, ah, oh, ma." So try that. Ah, oh, ma. That means you're full of life and vitality. After that, look up at the sky and breathe in through your nose. Drop your head and breathe out through your open mouth. Slowly, it's called deep and slow. Repeat 5 times. Never forget that the most successful person is one who enjoys peace and happiness. That's all. Hapchang to all of you. So I love that sort of little story of his ability to connect with the very earthy, common, everyday person. And so that's where that side of our lineage comes from. People coming to our temple from time to time, they comment on how sort of homey and accessible it feels. So we appreciate not only the stern Precept Master, but also the unrestrained Dharma Master who taught us these practices. So let's now honor Sobang Sunum with a minute of silent meditation. One other part of the story I'd like to share about our Dharma ancestors is that they were not perfect people, and every Zen master is a complex human being. They live in this human realm with us. And so they make mistakes. One example of this is Solbang Sunum. As an unrestrained sort of monk, when he went down to the marketplace, he would visit bars, and he would sometimes get pretty drunk. And he probably had the seed of alcoholism within him. And so that didn't mean that he wasn't a wonderful Zen master, but it did mean that from time to time, he would engage in repentance practice, as do all of us. So we, in our tradition, say constant repentance is constant awakening. So I invite you to repeat after me for any repentance that you may have at this day or that you can think of. This simple gata. So it goes like this. All evil actions committed by me,
All evil actions committed by me,
since time immemorial,
since time immemorial,
arising from body, speech, and mind,
arising from body, speech, and mind,
stemming from greed, anger, and delusion,
stemming from greed, anger, and delusion,
I now fully avow.
I now fully avow.
And then we close this special service for our ancestors with a very short verse from the Diamond Sutra. The Diamond Sutra is a teaching that's greatly revealed in our tradition. This particular interpretation comes from Thich Nhat Hanh as user-friendly translation of this verse. So placing our hands in Hapchang, all composed things are like a dream, a phantom, a drop of dew, a flash of lightning. This is how to meditate on them. This is how to observe them. So this has a sense of connecting to our deep practice of realizing our interconnection to each other, the impermanence of all things. So thank you for participating in this special service. After we say the 4 great vows, which we're going to do after announcements, we'll do 9 prostrations to our ancestors. But let's pause now for some announcements.
Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Magama.
Welcome. And we have some new people here today. So if you have any questions after the service, you can ask any of us wearing the gray, and we'll try to answer your questions. And also on the table right outside this room, there's a sign-up sheet if you're interested in receiving our weekly email bulletin. We send that out once a week and let you know about things going on upcoming in the temple. After the service today, we would like to have some help moving some chairs downstairs. They're outside in the backyard, so if we could get a few volunteers, we can quickly move them downstairs in this building. A couple of things coming up on our calendar. From time to time, we offer an introductory meditation course, and that meets for 5 consecutive Thursday evenings from 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. So the next round of introductory meditation course will begin on Thursday, April 28th. And there's a sign-up sheet on the table if you're interested. And then we also offer a version of that course that is just one day. It's overnight. It's all the same information compressed into a sort of an overnight beginner's Zen retreat. So there's a sign-up sheet for that as well if you're interested. We offer yoga classes on Tuesday evenings from 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m. Those will begin in early May, and there's a sign-up sheet for that. If you've ever wondered what it would be like to live in a Buddhist community, but you're not interested in doing a long-term stay, like staying for several months, you might not be aware that we offer a temple stay program. So you could stay for a week or something like that and participate in the daily schedule of the community, including daily practice and sharing vegetarian meals together. And you can still go, during the day and work at your job and then come back in the evening. So if you're interested in getting some more information about that, you can talk to Haju or Maum after the service. Are there groups that are meeting today?
I don't see Mike, so I'm not sure if we're having recovery Dharma. Maybe
Okay.
he will turn up at the last moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. The temple is supported entirely by your kind donations of time and money. There's a fishbowl right outside the doorway for monetary donations. If you'd like to volunteer your time, there's a number of ways to do that. One way is to be a greeter. And we have 2 greeters for every Sunday morning service. Tong-san and I are the greeters today. And as a greeter, you would arrive about a half an hour before the service begins, help to set up for the service, and then just help new people as they come in to orient them, let them know what to expect during the service. And then, when the service is over, you get to give announcements like this, which is a nice opportunity to practice your public speaking skills in front of the most supportive audience imaginable. So talk to any of us, mostly supportive. And talk to any of us if you're interested in that. And because today is Easter, we have an Easter treat for everyone. We have these eggs with jelly beans and chocolate inside. So as you exit the doorway here, you'll see them on the table on the right. Please take one with you. I can vouch for, I tried the contents and they're quite tasty, including M&Ms. And if you don't want one yourself, but you have some children or you're going to be seeing some children today, take a few with you because we need to give them all away today. We do not want to be giving away jelly beans on Labor Day. Thank you.
Okay. So please join me in the 4 great vows. Just repeat after me. All beings, one body.
All beings, one body.
I vow to liberate.
I vow to liberate.
Blind passions, one root.
Blind passions, one root.
I vow to terminate.
I vow to terminate.
Dharma gates, one mind.
Dharma gates, one mind.
I vow to penetrate.
I vow to penetrate.
The great way of Buddha.
The great way of Buddha.
I vow to realize.
I vow to realize.
So let's stand, and I think we'll do, instead of prostrations, 9 formal bows together. Feeling our feet, connecting with the earth beneath us. feeling the breath within our bodies. We do these 9 formal vows as an offering to our Dharma ancestors, Tongsan and Sobong Sunum.
Oh,